Today we have an Americana compilation. Story number 1, A Thrilling Incident. It says, the first settlers in Maine found besides its red-faced owners, other and abundant sources of annoyance and danger. The majestic forest which waved, where now is heard the hum of business, and where 1,000 villages stand, were the homes of innumerable wild and savage animals. Often at night was the farmer's family aroused from sleep by the noise without, which told that Bruin was storming the sheep pen or the pigsty, or was laying violent paws upon some unlucky calf. And often, on a cold winter, did they roll a larger log against the door, and with beating hearts draw closer around the fire, as the dismal howl of the wolf echoed through the woods. The wolf was the most ferocious, bloodthirsty, but cowardly of all, rarely attacking a man unless driven by hunger, and then seeking his victim with the utmost pertinacity. The incident which I am about to relate occurred in the early history of Bidford. A man who then lived on the farm, now occupied by Mr. H., was one autumn engaged in felling trees at some distance from his house. His little son, 8 years old, was in the habit when his mother was busy with household cares, of running out into the fields and woods around the house, and often going where the father was at work. One day after the frost had robbed the trees of their foliage, the father left his work sooner than usual and started for home. Just at the edge of the forest, he saw a curious pile of leaves. Without stopping to think what had made it, he cautiously removed the leaves. What was his astonishment to find his own darling boy lying there sound asleep. 'Twas but the work of a moment to take up the little sleeper, put in his place a small log carefully, replace the leaves, and conceal himself among the nearest bushes, there to watch the result. After waiting a short time, he heard the wolf's distant howl, quickly followed by another and another, till the woods seemed alive with the fearful sounds. The howls came near, and in a few minutes, a large, gaunt, savage-looking wolf leaped into the opening, closely followed by the whole pack. The leader sprang directly upon the pile of leaves, and in an instant scattered them in every direction. Soon as he saw the deception, his look of fierceness and confidence changed to that of abject fear. He shrank back, cowered to the ground, and passively awaited his fate, for the rest, enraged by the supposed cheat, fell upon him on the spot. When they had finished their comrade, they disappeared. Within 5 minutes from the first appearance, not a wolf was in sight. The excited father pressed his child to his bosom, and thanked the kind providence which led him there to save his dear boy. The boy, after playing till he was weary, had laid down and fallen asleep, and in that situation the wolf had found him and covered him with leaves until he could bring his comrades to the feast, but himself furnished the request. This article originally came from the Bidford Journal. Story number 2, Patrick's Colt. It says, a gentleman who favors us with some reminiscences respecting the early settlements of this place relates the following anecdote. When my grandfather resided at Goffstown in Derryfield, then settled by the Irish, he hired a wild sort of an Irishman to work on his farm. One day, soon after his arrival, he told him to take a bridle and go out into the field and catch the black colt. Don't come home without him, said the old gentleman. Never a bit, said Patrick, and off he started. He was gone some time, and at last returned minus the bridle, with his face and his hands badly scratched, as though he had received rough treatment. Why, Patrick, what's the matter? What ails you? In faith, isn't it me, your honor, that'll never catch the old black colt again? Bad luck to him. And then he all but scratched me eyes out of me head. In faith, I had to climb up a tree after him. Climb up a tree after him? Nonsense. Where is the beast? And he's tied to a tree, to be sure, your honor. We all followed Patrick to the spot to get a solution of the difficulty, and on reaching the field, we found to our no small amusement that he had been chasing a young black bear, which he had succeeded in catching after a great deal of rough usage on both sides, and actually tied it with a bridle to an old tree. Bruin was kept for a long while, and was ever after known as Patrick's Colt. Story number 3, Don't Stand on the Track. The train, says a railroad gazette, may steal suddenly upon you, and then a little trepidation, slight misstep, a slip of the foot, and we shudder to think of your crushed and bleeding body. So it is in the journey of life. Perils are around you on every hand, but don't stand in their path and defy them. Don't stand in their path and disregard them. Perhaps you now and then take a little intoxicating drink. My friend, if so, you are standing on the track, while the car of retribution comes thundering on, moving in a right line, approaching with steady and rapid wheels. Will it not bear down and crush you? Perhaps you spend an occasional evening with a party of friends, amusing yourselves with cards or dice, staking small sums to make the game interesting. My friend, you were standing on the track. Thousands have stood there and perished. Don't wait to hear the rattling of the rushing wheels, but fly for the track. At a safe distance, stand and view the wrecks which the ponderous train will spread before you. Look well to the ground on which you plant your feet, and forget not for these many days our parting words. Don't stand on the track. Story number 4. A Good Story. It says, some 2 miles up the river from St. Johnsbury, Vermont, is a little village called the Center. Here, not long since, the rustic youth of the vicinity congregated for a dance, and dance they did, said our informant, with an unction unknown to your city belles and beaux. One interesting young man, having imbibed rather too freely, became fatigued in the course of the evening, and wisely concluded to retire for a short rest. A door ajar near the dancing hall revealed invitingly a glimpse of a comfortable bed, of which he took possession with a prospect of an undisturbed snooze. It so happened, howbeit, that this was the lady's drawing room, and no sooner had he closed his eyes than a pair of blooming damsels came in from the hall and began adjusting their disordered ringlets, the dim light of the tallow candle not disclosing the tenant of the bed. The girls had tongues, like most of their sex, which ran on in this wise. What a nice dance we're having. Have you heard anybody say anything about me, Jane? Oh, yes, Sally. Jim Brown says he'd never seen you look so handsome as you do tonight. Have you heard anybody say anything about me? About you? Why, of course. I heard Joe Flint tell Sam Jones that you were the prettiest dressed girl in the room. Whereupon the dear things chuckled, fixed up a little more, and made off toward the hall room. They had hardly reached the door when our half-conscious friend raised himself upon his elbow and quite intelligibly, though slowly, inquired, have you heard anybody say anything about me, girls? At that juncture, they fled with an explosive scream. Story number 5. The Farmer. It says, the man who stands upon his own soil, who feels that by the laws of the land in which he lives, by the laws of the civilized nations, he is the rightful and exclusive owner of the land which he tills, is by the constitution of our nature under a wholesome influence, not easily imbibed from any other source. He feels, other things being equal, more strongly than another the character of a man as the lord of the inanimate world, of this great and wonderful sphere, which fashioned by the hand of God and upheld by his power, is rolling through the heavens. A portion is his from the center to the sky. It is the space on which the generation before him moved on its round of duties, and he feels himself connected by a visible link with those who will follow him, and to whom he is to transmit a home. Perhaps his farm has come down to him from his fathers. They have gone to their last home, but he can trace their footsteps over the scenes of his daily labors. The roof which shelters him was reared by those to whom he owes his being. Some interesting domestic tradition is connected with every enclosure. The favorite fruit tree was planted by his father's hand. He sported in his boyhood beside the brook which still winds through the meadow. Through the fields lies the path for the village school of other days. He still hears from his window the voice of the Sabbath bell, which called his fathers to the house of God. And near at hand is the spot where his parents laid down to rest, and where, when his time has come, he shall be laid by his children. These are the feelings of the owner of the soil. Words cannot paint them. Gold cannot buy them. They flow out of the deepest fountains of the heart. They are the life springs of a fresh, healthy, and generous national character. Story number 6. The Bible. It says, how comes it that little volume, composed by humble men in a rude age, when art and science were but in their childhood, has exerted more influence on the human mind and on the social system than all the other books put together? Whence comes it that this book has achieved such marvelous changes in the opinion of mankind, has banished idol worship, has abolished infanticide, has put down polygamy and divorce, exalted the conditions of women, raised the standard of public morality, created for families that blessed thing, a Christian home, and closed its other triumphs by causing benevolent institutions, open and expansive, to spring up with us the wand of enchantment? What sort of a book is this, that even the winds and waves of human passion obey it? Whatever engine of social improvement has operated so long and yet lost none of its virtue? Since it appeared, many boasted plans of amelioration have been tried and failed. Many codes of jurisprudence have arisen and run their course and expired. Empire after empire has been launched on the tide of time and gone down, leaving no trace of their waters. But this book is still going about doing good, leaving society with its holy principles, cheering the sorrowful with its consolation, strengthening the tempted, encouraging the penitent, calming the troubled spirit, and soothing the pillow of death. Can such a book be the offspring of human genius? Does not the vastness of its effects demonstrate the excellency of the power to be of God? This compilation of stories came from the state of Pennsylvania, being reported in the Adams Sentinel of January 31st, 1853. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.